Another day, one step closer to Zack Snyder's Justice League, which comes out March 18th. And yesterday, Zack Snyder confirmed on Twitter that everybody will get the chance to watch it on the same day, March 18th, next month. Apart from France, China, and Japan, those dates are yet to be confirmed. But either PVOD, streaming, whatever it is, you will get the chance to watch it wherever you are, which is brilliant to see. People were worried, so you don't have to pirate the movie, you don't have to use VPN, you have to just wait, buy the movie legally, and watch it and enjoy it, and hopefully that's a good sign for Zack Snyder's Justice League and the Snyderverse as a whole. But I wanted to read an article that came out a week ago, the morning of the trailer, with the Hollywood Reporter, the revolution of the new Justice League trailer, written by Richard Newby. Now, it's a very good article. Yes, from the Hollywood Reporter, very good article about the Snyder Cut. I wanted to read it and share my thoughts about it, and maybe get your guys' thoughts as well, what you think. But this is what it says. Zack Snyder treats Ray Fisher's Cyborg in a way likely to resonate with fans of colour, writes Richard Newby. It's not just a desire to see ourselves in costumes as heroes, but to see ourselves as heroes with respect, given to the fact of how we are treated differently, even with all of our power. That's what we all want. We all want to be treated with respect and hopefully give respect to people and all of those kind of things. It's not a dream, it's not a hoax. Justice has finally been delivered. On Sunday morning, HBO Max released the full trailer for Zack Snyder's Justice League, the film that only a year ago many said didn't exist, and even if it did, wouldn't be released. Remember all those people. And now, here we are, just over a month out from the release of the film that has been a passion project for both fans and the director himself. If there was any remaining notion among general audiences that the Snyder Cut was just a studio-butchered 2017 film with some additional scenes, the full trailer dispels all of that. What we're getting a glimpse of is something that looks and feels entirely new and continues the themes of Zack Snyder's Man of Steel 2013 and Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice 2016 in a meaningful way. Yes, it's a superhero movie. But as someone who has only grown increasingly aware of his own race in this current climate, it feels like more than that. For as much criticism as Snyder has gotten for the perception of his films being dark and gritty, it has felt to me since Man of Steel that the director was building to something honest and hopeful, examining the way in which we understand our own humanity, either by giving into fear or pushing past it. I'd argue that Zack Snyder's Justice League appears to be exactly the film we need right now. As America and the world grows more divided, if Man of Steel and Batman v Superman were 9/11 and post-9/11 metaphors respectively, concerned with American xenophobia and right-wing solutions, then, as evident by this trailer, Justice League is exploring our contemporary situation. We've given in to fear for too long, and as a result we let evil into our home. So how do we correct that? How do we answer for the mistakes and inadequacies of the past, while preventing the future from fulfilling all of our worst nightmares? This is where we are socially and politically. But this is also where superheroes appear to be in this film. I really like this piece. I think it's very impactful. Despite those looming questions, there is a pervasive sense of tribute throughout the new trailer. One that accounts for past tragedies, following Bruce Wayne's optimistic final monologue from Batman v Superman. We can do better. We will. We have to. Even as the world falls in disarray with the coming of Darkseid, Ray Porter, and the forces of Apocalypse, led by Steppenwolf, Kieran Hines, there's a sense of grandeur and hope that comes with seeing DC Comics heroes Batman, Affleck, Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot, Aquaman, Jason Momoa, Cyborg, Ray Fisher, The Flash, Ezra Miller, and of course, Superman, Henry Cavill, joined together to become something greater than they could be individually. The trailer, aided by Junkie XL's operatic score, emphasized audiences with the promise of an epic, one that will both wax poetically about superheroes without our modern world and deliver a visual board of action sequences. But action has meaning, and our stories about superheroes cannot exist within a vacuum. For all the anticipation that comes with seeing these heroes team up, it is their individual moments that this trailer focuses on, suggesting some major soul-searching from the film's central characters following the death of Superman. Even with little dialogue exchanged between heroes, there is a subtext in the images on screen found. There is the suggestion of Wonder Woman confronting what her godhood means in the face of new gods, of Batman struggling to regain the honour he lost in a conversation with Joker Jared Leto, of Superman learning to fly to new heights with the words of Jonathan Kent, Kevin Costner, guiding him, and Cyborg undergoing his own first flight with a match cut between him and Superman, suggesting that all of the characters Victor Stone may be closest to the ideal of Superman, an idea of what it means to exist as a hero while being simultaneously uttered by society. It's that last point that really drives home the importance of this film's release for me, especially as someone who has always aligned Snyder's Superman in part with the black experience in America. To have an actual black character appear to carry that torch forward, it is not only significant but potentially revolutionary, because it's not just a desire to see ourselves in costumes as heroes, but to see ourselves as heroes with respect given to the fact of how we are treated differently. Even with all of our power, how our voices take longer to be heard, and how our flight is a greater struggle because we're always starting on lower ground. And it's the promise of illuminating how we see ourselves. Members of the Justice League each take on a greater significance in regards to our current conversations surrounding inclusivity. The vast majority of fans of Snyder's DC films that I've encountered on social media had genuine conversations with are not straight white males. When I saw the release of the Ultimate Edition of Batman v Superman, the majority of the audiences was comprised of black people and women. These metrics mean something and too often go unacknowledged in favour of long being held personal biases. These are superheroes with large within our current considerations of politics, social justice, race and theology. It is those moments that fans of Snyder's DC films, particularly those who have been marginalised, have come to expect. It is for those moments that #release the Snyder Cut ever became a thing in the first place. When you cut through all the noise and antagonism created by those so virulently against the film that they entered the realm of fabrication and cruelty, and those so fixated upon the film's release that they've become just as cruel, no longer upholding the values of the heroes they claim to love. When you get past all of that, you have a story about incredible individuals simply trying to be better. What could be more human? What could be more optimistic? I'll be the first to admit that I've been disturbed by both vicious personal attacks on the filmmakers from bloggers and the cult-like behaviour from fans who have turned to harassment again and again. In the face of all of that, the release of this film feels like an opportunity to take a step back. Remember why we love these characters and understand that though we may not all love them in the same way, that's okay. There's a value in that. There's value in the perspective that Snyder is offering with these characters. And there's value in listening to people whose considerations on these films don't come from the loudest and most traditional voices of comic book fandom. This doesn't feel like just another superhero movie. And that's because it isn't. It's a journey. One that many have followed both on screen and behind the scenes. And have seen themselves in. Whether Zack Snyder's Justice League marks the end of that journey or not remains to be seen. But the fact that it happened at all feels like a burst of hope in a world that could use more of it. Now that was in the Hollywood Reporter. You can check that out in the description of this video if you want to read it yourself. Written by Richard Newby. I thought it was very touching, very impactful, very honest, and it shows you Snyder's impact on people, not just white people, but people of other backgrounds, different colour, different situations. You know, Zack Snyder's films, very diverse. You know, many people love his movies. Many people hate them. But at the end of the day, he's got white men, he's got, you know, black women, he's got characters from all different backgrounds in his movies being represented in a good light, in an honest light. And it shows you that the fan base that Snyder has obtained over his years of filmmaking is also diverse. It's widespread, you know, different countries all around the world. It's not like his fan base just comes from one region. It comes from the world that we look at. You know, Zack Snyder's Justice League Worldwide was a thing that trended yesterday, or Snyder Cut Worldwide, because the movie had been announced to be available to every single person in every single region, no matter where you're from or what you look like, which is absolutely brilliant and probably unheard of that a movie of this caliber would be available all at once on the same day internationally. Disney Plus isn't even available in some places internationally. Some places don't even have Disney Plus. And some places that don't have Disney Plus will be able to watch the Snyder Cut on March 18th, which I think is actually fascinating. And a big hats off to Snyder for actually getting the film internationally distributed on the same day, because I think it was a struggle for him with no backing from Warner Brothers. But reading this piece shows me that Snyder's films don't just speak to you in a way that you love superheroes. It can speak to you in a way with your personal experiences. We've all gone through shit in our own life. We've all have bad experiences, good experiences that make us the people that we are right now. You're not the same person you were 5 years ago. You won't be the same person you are right now 5 years from now. Life experiences make us the way we are. And I think Snyder's films and his characters with all different backgrounds and different scenarios speak to us. People have lost their parents very much like a Batman, and it's made them think in certain ways. Very much Clark Kent, an alien, didn't know where he came from. Many people can understand that. Being forced into a country or forced out of a country because of who they are or what they look like, and having to live in a new environment. It's interesting. Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman lost the love of her life and had to live on with that tragedy. Ezra Miller's father is in prison and his mother died. Ray Fisher's Cyborg lost both of his parents. So I like the themes in Snyder's films. And I think something is to be obtained by every single person. You can relate to each one of Snyder's characters. Lois Lane, she loses the love of her life. People can relate to those kind of situations. They can. And to see a black superhero like Cyborg is brilliant. And look at Marvel. Chadwick Boseman, the big impact he had on people, on black children, black people in general, about a black superhero leading a movie, being this billion-dollar film nominated for Oscars. Look at the legacy that Chadwick Boseman has left behind him. Ryan Coogler, the director, as well. Absolutely brilliant stuff. No matter your opinion on the movie, you have to say that this movie was a big impact on people's lives. And Snyder's films do the exact same thing. Now, people say that the Snyder Cut movement is very toxic, very, mean, or whatever you want to use. They bully people. It's a small minority. But that's in every fandom. Star Wars, Marvel, there's people like that, and there will always be in all walks of life. In real life there is. Politics, sports, there is people like that who are just negative Nancy's day in and day out and don't know when to stop, breathe in and smile and take in what they have around them. That always happens. But there's something to be said for Zack Snyder's work of Man of Steel, which came out in 2013. It's still talked about. It's still impactful to people. Batman v Superman came out in 2016. The same thing, the Ultimate Edition, spoke to people. People love the man's work. And they were so eager, they were so looking forward to Justice League, the first time this happened in live action form, with this huge movie, the end of the 3-part arc, per se, the trilogy. And then to go into the movie theatre in 2017 and watch what we got to see was hurtful. It was insultive towards people who love Warner Brothers, who love DC movies, who loved Snyder films. It was. And the article talks about hope. In a world right now where there's nothing but tragedy going on, people are dying, people are stuck at home, people are depressed. In a world where it isn't that joyful to see something that people are so passionate about for years, a movie of characters that speak to them, that a director that speaks to them, and with campaigns, with getting together, with just talking online, whatever social media capacity that you were on, you made this film happen. You made it be something, and there's some great hope to be having that. It makes me look at people in a brighter way to say, wow, people can come together and make change. And I know you might say this is only a movie, but this is a movie. These are characters that have a huge impact on people and make people smile and make people happy. Some people look forward to going home at the end of the day to watch a comic book movie on Blu-ray or on streaming, to sit down to watch an Avengers movie, to sit down to watch a Batman movie, because it takes them away from the reality that they're living in. And we don't know what people are living in. People go through terrible experiences. We don't know what's going on. People have been hurt violently, verbally, sexually, things like that. You never know what's going on with people. And this may be the only outlet that gives them some hope of life. A Superman movie about that gives them hope. A Batman v Superman movie gives them hope. The Justice League movie, this bunch of misfits, these people going through terrible tragedies, losing their parents, losing their loved ones, not knowing where they fit into society. People look to these movies, they want to sit down, they want to watch these because these characters remind them of themselves. Yes, it's superheroes with capes, but there's more relatability value in these characters than there would be with any other character, any other person that you meet in the world. There's something special about sitting down and watching a movie or watching a character go through something that's very similar to what you've gone through in your life, and to see that character come out the other way, to come out the other side of it and say, yeah, I went through that, but it makes me a better, stronger person. It gives people hope. It really does. I've read numerous stories online about how Man of Steel or Batman v Superman has saved people's lives. That hope value is there. And I think it's absolutely amazing from Zack Snyder movies. But in this article, as they talk about each character going through something absolutely terrible, to come out the other side of it, to try and get together as a team, is great. And each character in this movie is going through their own internal and external battle. But then they have to come together for something greater than themselves. So Zack Snyder's work will live on no matter what. He's been a director since Dawn of the Dead came out, commercials before that, and each movie that has come out after that has been impactful to people. It's spoken to people. It's been a success to people. And Zack Snyder's Justice League, when it comes out March 18th, I think people are underestimating the value that this movie has towards people. I think the trailer today showed people that the Snyder Cut movement isn't just a small minority of fans who love Snyder. It's wider than that. There's a huge widespread of people who love Zack Snyder movies. There was a graph that showed the internet trend of the Snyder Cut discussion online. And the big day, the May day when it was announced, went up. The DC fandom went up. But the latest trailer rocketed. It was so high. That was across all social media platforms. And the trailer getting, 20 million views on HBO Max and different million views on all other platforms. The discussion that was going on, the talk of it. I think this movie's going to be pretty big. It's pretty impactful towards people, and it means a lot to people. And of course, there's people that hate it. But that's the beauty about cinema. People have opinions. Film is subjective. A movie you hate, I might love. A movie I love, you might hate. It's as simple as that. It's interesting. But once you're respectful towards people, once you engage in a good light, then there's something beautiful by talking about these kinds of cinema. And this man even talks about, he dealt with the toxic side of the fandom, the defensive side of the fandom. But he was able to stand back and take in, what is this? What is this right now? What's important? All I know is that this is a movie, and it's coming out March 18th, and it means a lot to me, and I'm sure it means a lot to you as well, in different forms. Some people will cry watching this movie. Some people will watch this and just have a good time. Some people will watch this movie and it will inspire them to do something. You know, you never know how a movie is going to impact someone, and there is a large fan base around this. A little kid seeing Cyborg, a person with a disability seeing Cyborg, it can speak a lot to them. It really can. To see Batman from being the person that he was in Batman v Superman, to come out the other side of it and to see what's important in life, it could be interesting. But I'm happy for Zack Snyder because a few years ago he went through a terrible tragedy in his family. He didn't get any help from Warner Brothers. The only people that really stood by him and said, Zack, we're here for you, is his fan base. And there's something very beautiful about that. Something very impactful about that will live on for years to come. And the Snyder Cut, Zack Snyder's Justice League, hashtag release the Snyder Cut, those forms of hashtags were created out of love for this man's work and wanting to see more of that work. So I find it fascinating. I really do. I'm looking forward to this movie. It means a lot to me personally. These are some of my favourite characters. But not only that, Snyder's work has spoke to me in many variations. Watchmen, Dawn of the Dead. First DVD I ever bought was Dawn of the Dead back in 2010. Sat down, didn't know anything about producers, didn't know anything about directors. Sat down and I watched Dawn of the Dead. And I loved it. And it made me love zombies, which got me into that show. You know, and it's just how those kind of themes spoke to me. I seen Watchmen. Still didn't really know who Zack Snyder was. Watched it the first time. Oh, it's interesting. It's different. The way it's shot. I started learning bits of cinema by just watching Zack Snyder movies. Not even knowing who the man was. I don't know how many times I've watched Watchmen, but probably the first time I watched it, I probably thought, oh, that's okay, that's good. But then by the 15th to 20th time I watched it, oh my god, this is amazing. Man of Steel. I seen it one time on TV. I watched it. I was like, oh, I don't really know if I like this. The action is a bit weird because nothing was like that before. I'd never seen action like that. But the second time I watched it, I appreciated it a little bit more. Third time, oh wow, it's interesting. I remember I was in the city one day. I don't know what age I was. I was 16, 17. And I seen Man of Steel, the DVD, and it was cheap. And I bought it, and I went home, and I watched it. And I'm like, this is a great movie. I love this movie. And every time I watch that movie, it gets better and better. My anticipation for Batman v Superman was so high. Because I'm a Batman fan. I love Batman movies. The Dark Knight, my favourite Batman movie of all time. I was looking forward to a new interpretation of Batman. You know, I was more looking forward to seeing Batman on the big screen than I was to see a Zack Snyder movie or a sequel to Man of Steel. And I couldn't wait. I was buying all the magazines. I was reading every interview. I just could not wait for the movie. I went opening night. It was packed. I'll never forget it. Everybody was there. It felt like everybody was there watching this movie, and I was there too. And I loved it. I had such a great time, and I loved the theatrical version. And I didn't even know there was an Ultimate Edition until maybe a year or so after, 6 months after. I didn't even know there was an extra 30 minutes. Bought the Ultimate Edition. It's like, wow, it really adds a lot to it. It's a different movie altogether. And every time I watch Batman v Superman, it gets better and better. My favourite part about Batman v Superman is Lex Luthor's performance. Or Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor. You know, different things speak to me about that movie. The action is unbelievable. And it made me really, really appreciate the filmmaking style from Zack Snyder. It really did. Sucker Punch the same. I bought that on DVD. Knew who Zack Snyder was, kinda, but really liked it. And Zack Snyder's taught me a lot about filmmaking. How to get a shot, the slow motion features, the way he just shoots an action scene, the way he makes the characters seem so powerful, but also vulnerable, which we can all feel at times as well. So my love for Zack Snyder is through the roof for his movies. And I can't wait to see his redemption on March 18th, to get to see the final part of this kind of story he was trying to tell. If this is going to be the final part, we don't know what's going to happen. But I'm just saying that this, you may hate or love this man, but your hate shouldn't be based on hating him as a person. If you don't like his movies, that's perfectly fine. That's okay. I didn't like his movies at first either, Man of Steel. But I grew to love it, because I appreciate cinema. I appreciate the filmmaking style. And I give Snyder the benefit of the doubt. I watched it again and again and again. And I'm glad I did, because I love the movies. But if you hate him, don't be going at him, calling him a terrible filmmaker, or using his personal life to get at him or anything like that. That's just the lowest of the low. I think there's something to be got out of watching a Zack Snyder movie. Honestly, I think there is something. You can learn something about filmmaking, about story, about characters by watching a movie directed by Zack Snyder. You may not like it, but there's something to be got and educated out of it. But I wanted to read that article, guys. I thought it was pretty interesting. The revolution of the new Justice League trailer shows how far we've come as a movement, what hope can actually mean in an unhopeful world right now, where many bad things are going on, where people are hurting, people are sad, but things like this can give them hope. And if Zack Snyder's work gives you hope, I'm glad it does, and I'm sure Snyder does as well, because it's easy to get sad, but it's hard to be happy. But yeah, the revolution of the new Justice League trailer. That movie's coming out March 18th. I hope you get to sit down on day one and watch it, guys, and enjoy it. And I hope it means something to you. And if it doesn't mean anything to you, that's fine. Watch something that does. Talk about something that does. But don't try and bring down other people's joy. And even if you're a Snyder fan and people don't like it, don't try and go at them either. Just enjoy the movie. It's all about what you enjoy, right? Don't be trying to convince anybody how great a movie is just because they don't like it. If they don't like it, they don't like it. Don't engage. Just watch it and enjoy it yourself. But guys, what does Zack Snyder's work mean to you as a fan? How was it spoken to you? Does it make you happy? Do you not like his work? Has it given you hope in your life? It definitely has given me hope. The way the Snyder Cut movement has developed, how the movie got greenlit, how it's happening, gives me hope as well about certain things, personal things as well. But yeah, guys, let me know how Zack Snyder's work has spoken to you. What you think of this article? Go give it a read if you want to give it a read as well. Let me know. And yeah, March 18th, it's coming, and just enjoy the ride. Don't let anybody take you down. Don't try and take anybody down either. Just enjoy it yourself, because it's something that you wanted and looked forward to. Okay? And hopefully it's a success, and we'll talk about it here on the channel. But guys, yeah, follow me on all the socials. That stuff is in the end credits. And come talk to me anytime you want. And yeah, have a good day, guys.